Yo, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back. Episode 7 of The Boys is right around the corner, and honestly, after Episode 6 absolutely cooked us with one of the greatest hours of television this entire season, the show has found its footing again at exactly the right moment. We got action, we got jaw-dropping twists, we got emotional gut punches, and then, right at the death, the V1 lands in Homelander's hands. And just like that, the entire game flipped upside down. So today, we are breaking down every single theory and prediction I have for the penultimate episode of this legendary series. And trust me, you do not want to sleep on this one. Let's get into it. Quick heads up, full spoilers ahead. You've been warned. Let's start with the elephant in the room. The moment Homelander got his hands on the V1, Butcher's whole world crumbled. For the first time this entire season, we watched Billy Butcher look genuinely lost, and that alone should terrify you, because Butcher is never lost. Now, there are a couple of camps forming around what the V1 actually does to Homelander. Some people online are running wild with the theory that it could strip him of his abilities entirely, reducing the most dangerous superhuman on the planet to a completely ordinary, powerless person. And honestly, as a punishment, that would be poetic. Nothing would break him more. But here's the thing. The trailer footage we got showing him inside the Oval Office, that is not the body language of a man who just lost everything. That is the body language of a man who just became everything. My read, the V1 is going to turbocharge his abilities beyond anything we've ever seen and lock in his immunity to the virus, making him genuinely, truly immortal. Game over. Some folks are also throwing out the idea that the V might have been scrambled when it was yanked out of Bombsight's system, but I'm not buying that either. That V1 is fully intact, and Homelander knows it. So where does that leave us? Well, here's the thing about a narcissist who suddenly has zero limitations. They stop pretending. All of Homelander's insecurities, not being loved enough, not being strong enough, not being untouchable, those are gone now. He is the apex. He knows it, and now everybody else is going to know it too. Sister Sage is out. The Deep is done. Black Noir is dead. The Seven doesn't even exist anymore. There is no council left to whisper wisdom in his ear. There is nobody to pump the brakes. He is completely, dangerously, cosmically alone at the top, and that is the most frightening version of Homelander imaginable. I fully expect his reign of terror to kick off immediately in Episode 7. The trailer shot of him in the Oval Office is screaming that he's about to remove anyone in power who isn't bowing down to him, and that could absolutely include the president. Which then raises another horrifying question. What happens to Ashley? She's embedded in that government structure, and Homelander is not going to tolerate anyone who even looks like an obstacle. Here's one that I don't think enough people are talking about. Soldier Boy handing over the V1 in those final moments of Episode 6 felt like a genuine act of loyalty, invoking the memory of Clara, reminding Homelander of what this moment meant. Beautiful, right? Except, flip back to earlier in that same episode. Soldier Boy looked Homelander dead in the eyes and said, "You don't deserve to live forever." That line didn't disappear just because he handed over the formula. And here's what makes Soldier Boy genuinely dangerous in Homelander's mind. The man has already proven he can drain the V straight out of a superhuman, even mid-battle, just like he did to Bombsight. Now that Homelander is immortal, Soldier Boy is quite literally the one being on the planet who could undo that. You think a man with Homelander's ego and paranoia is going to sleep easy knowing that? I think there's a very real shot that Homelander tries to neutralize Soldier Boy before he becomes a future liability. Whether that means an assassination attempt, freezing him again, or some other power move, I wouldn't rule it out. And with Homelander's abilities potentially cranked up to a whole new ceiling after the V1, maybe he can actually do some real damage this time.
Now let's talk about the most deliciously tragic character arc playing out right now, the Deep. After Episode 6, this man has nowhere left to run. He killed Black Noir. He endorsed an oil pipeline that wiped out 1.4 billion sea creatures. Jeremy the fish's dying words were essentially, "We know what you did." The ocean, the one place that was supposed to be his refuge, his kingdom, his home, is now an active threat to his survival. Think about that for a second. Homelander wants him dead for betraying the Seven. The ocean wants him dead for betraying the ocean. The deep has burned every single bridge that ever existed for him. There is no version of this where he gets a happy ending. But here's my theory on how his story closes out. And honestly, I think it's the most fitting way it could possibly go. He flees to the water to escape Homelander. And the creatures he loved most, the ones he always claimed to fight for, the ones he abandoned for personal gain, they rise up against him. The deep gets taken out, not by the enemy he feared most, but by the family he betrayed. No Seven, no Butcher, just the ocean reclaiming what it owed it. That is not just a death, that is karma in its purest form.
Okay, this is the big one. How on earth do you fight a man who is now effectively a walking, laser-eyed, indestructible deity? Theory 1, Butcher tracks down the legend, and we finally get that scene that comic readers have been waiting for, where Butcher makes sure the legend pays the ultimate price. That feels inevitable to me at this point. But more importantly, how do you end Homelander? Option A, Soldier Boy turns on him. He's already shown he can drain the V from a powered-up superhuman. If he flips back, whether on his own or with a push from the boys, he becomes the most powerful weapon they have. The downside, it feels like a replay of what went down in Season 3, and I think the writers are smarter than that. Option B, Sister Sage, the smartest person alive, stops sandbagging and actually engineers a real version of V1. She was deliberately feeding Homelander a flawed formula before. Now that she's on the other side, what if she builds the genuine article for Butcher and Starlight? That gives them a fighting chance. The emotional cost, though, is massive. Both of them have made it clear they'd rather face death than live forever. Taking V1 would be the ultimate sacrifice. Option C, a temporary version. Sage figures out a temp V1. All the power spike, none of the eternal commitment. That lets our heroes go toe-to-toe with a god without losing their humanity permanently. If anyone could engineer that, it's her. Option D, Ryan. We already touched on this early in the season, but if Ryan takes V1 and channels everything he has alongside the boys with the full team supporting him, that is the closest thing to an equalizer they've got against a fully unleashed Homelander. My overall take? Episode 7 won't give us the final showdown yet. What it will give us is the boys figuring out their strategy, the noose tightening around several characters, and, I'm calling it right now, the legend's death at Butcher's hands. The episode title alone, The Frenchman, the Woman, and the Man Called Mother's Milk, is already making me nervous for those three specifically. The show doesn't name an episode after characters unless something major is coming for them.